Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. So the other day I was on that very addicting site known as Amazon, and I had the idea to buy the first sponsored product that showed up for each of my art steps and create a piece with it and see how these sponsored products on Amazon actually are. So I started my quest and I started with watercolor paper. So the watercolor paper that was sponsored was the Arteza watercolor pad 32 sheets, the cold press. I already have this, so I didn't actually order it. I'm just using what I already have, but this was the first sponsored thing that came up. So I also needed some pencils, and I like to use mechanical pencils. So I went ahead and looked at mechanical pencils, and this was the first sponsored thing that came up. If I can get it open, my goodness. Ah! Okay. So fancy. Oh yeah, there's no lead in there. I'm stupid. Okay, so these are by L&H. It just says mechanical pencils, aviation, aluminum, mechanical pencil, metal, pen, body, pencil, lead, break resistant. And it has 3 stars. Or not 3 stars, it has 3 reviews and 5 stars. My apologies. So it comes with 2 of these little mechanical pencils, both of which are 0.5, as well as some leads and 2 4B soft erasers. So cool. And it comes in this nice little kit. These are very heavy. Oops. And those were $12.99, by the way. Okay, so the next thing I got were some fine liners. Even though I don't really use that many fine liners anymore, I figured it'd be good to get one. So these were the ones that were sponsored. So the Amazon listing, it says these are precision black micro liner, fine liner ink pens. Says they're supposed to be waterproof, archival ink, fine point micro pen. They were $10.99. They're sold by the company Hitong on Amazon. And it's a whole set. Comes with, looks like, a variety of sizes from 0.05 to 0.8, and then a brush pen. So that's cool. My voice went very squeaky. Brush pen. And these are water resistant. They're not waterproof. So we'll see how they go with the watercolors. So I needed some brushes. So the next sponsored thing that I got were these brushes. These are by Transen, and this is their round watercolor detail paint brushes. It's 8 pieces. It says it's goat hair and that it's suitable for watercolors, acrylics, inks, gouache, oil, and tempera. And I'm pretty excited about these because I actually have one Transen brush that I really enjoy and I use it very frequently. So I'm excited to have a few more and try those out. They have really pretty copper handles. And they're all rounds. It comes in size 7, 6, 3, 0, 5, 1, 2, and 4. Yeah, 0 through 7. Comes with sizes 0 through 7. That's what I should have said. And the brushes were also $12.99 on Amazon. Okay, so I needed a palette, and this was the first palette that showed up on the sponsored view. And it's called Falling in Art Airtight Leak-Proof Watercolor Palette, 24 slightly sloping wells with 3 mixing areas. And it's 12 3/5 inches by 6 2/7 inches. And yeah, it's huge. It's so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. I didn't really read any of the descriptions of the stuff. I just bought it because I was like, it's sponsored. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside. The inside is like an off-white color. You can take this out. There's a little sponge in it. You can take this one out. That's cool. That'd be useful. That'd be helpful for cleaning this out. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this guy. This is pretty cool. It's got like a locking kind of clasp thing. I like that sound. It's also very heavy. So this would not be an ideal palette for traveling. And this was $15.99. All right, so the next thing we have is the watercolors. So these Davilu watercolors were the first ones to show up as sponsored. These have 99 reviews on Amazon and they're rating at 4 stars right now. They are $14.99. This set comes with 24 colors, 12 milliliters, 0.4 fluid ounces. Says they're professional artist quality, non-toxic, water-based, and vegan friendly. Has like a little informational thing inside. And then these are the watercolors. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily have the highest hopes for these, but I'm excited to try them. So there were two more things that I wanted to get for this video. I wanted to get something to add in white highlights, and I also wanted to get a masking fluid. So the masking fluid that was suggested to me is the Dr. P.H. Martin's Frisket Mask Liquid, and it says level 1. This is $9.99 on Amazon, and I'm pretty excited to try it. I like a lot of the Dr. P.H. Martin stuff that I've used, so I am excited to give this guy a try. And then going along with that, the other thing they suggested for me for the white was the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. I did think about doing a white gel pen, but it was kind of all the same suggested stuff, and I prefer using a white paint. So I'm excited to try this and see how opaque it is. And this was also $9.99 on Amazon. So that is everything. So this is everything that Amazon suggested to me that I would use to create a normal painting. So I am super excited to try all this stuff out and see if any of this sponsored stuff is actually worth it, because these were all companies that would have paid for their advertisement to go on Amazon. That's why it's sponsored. They didn't sponsor me. I just bought all this stuff, and I'm hoping some of it's good. But yeah, so let's try this stuff and see how it works. I'm excited, so let's jump into it. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to talk about are these mechanical pencils, because I'm going to be working on the sketch first. So these are by L&H, and like I said, it comes with 2 mechanical pencils, 2 mechanical pencil leads, and 2 erasers. Now, before I talk about that, I do want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of this sponsored item testing video. So the sponsor of this video is going to be Skillshare. I really appreciate them sponsoring my channel. It really helps me to be able to purchase supplies like this to review and see if they're worth it or not. And if you don't know what Skillshare is this really, really cool website. I've been using them for literally years now. I've talked about them on my channel so many times before. I think I first used them when I was like back in college, but they're a great like online learning platform, and they have all different categories of things that you can learn. So they have stuff like art and illustration and photography and graphic design and all of that stuff. But something that I've actually been really interested in recently is their productivity section. So there's a lot of really interesting productivity classes, and as somebody who struggles with ADHD and stuff like that, that can be really, really helpful for me to see how other people kind of organize their lives and things like that. So one class that I wanted to mention to you guys is by Thomas Frank, who's also a YouTuber, and it is on how you can create a system, a productivity system that is going to work for you. I know as the year kind of wraps up, I always start thinking more about organization and productivity and creating a good organizational system. So definitely something that I am finding very interesting and helpful this time of year. So like I said, Skillshare does have thousands of classes on a bunch of different topics by a bunch of different people. There's definitely YouTubers in our own community that have their own classes on here. I always like to mention Chloe Rose has a class on here. And it's just a really cool site, and I'm definitely very thankful to them. And their subscriptions do equal out to be like less than $10 a month if you do the yearly subscription, but they are also going to be offering a free 2-month trial to you guys. So click the link in the description box below to check that out and get your free 2-month trial to Skillshare. So huge thanks to Skillshare. I really, really do appreciate it. And it does really help me to be able to buy supplies so that I can review them to you guys, just like these guys, which I just spontaneously bought with absolutely no consideration for what they actually were or the quality of them. So let's talk about the quality of them. So these mechanical pencils, the official title on Amazon is Mechanical Pencils, Aviation Aluminium Mechanical Pencil, Metal Pen Body Pencil Lead Break Resistant. It has 5 stars. And I'm just taking a look at the Amazon listing because, like I said, I literally just ordered these without even looking at what they were. I just bought them. And the description's a little confusing, but one of the things that I see that it says is, our art mechanical pencils feature an ergonomic gravity design with a low center of gravity. The metal thread at the pen holder not only prevents slipping, but also increases the weight at the nib, making the writing more stable and comfortable. The all-metal body means lifetime use. The lead core adopts the latest R&D materials, which can make the writing smooth. It can make the writing smooth. It may not, but it can. Rich in color and strong, and it can save your precious time as reducing. Okay, now it's starting to lose sense. But yeah. Okay, so that's kind of what it says. Oh, it says features. It has a non-slip grip, a needle type nib. The lead is supposed to be break resistant. It's supposed to have a buffer device inside the pen holder, which is supposed to be break resistant. Comes with an eraser. Okay, well, I would hope so. I don't know. And then purchase without risk, which means that if I have any questions, I can contact their customer service team. Okay. Right, so that's kind of the basic description on Amazon of this product. And I have to say, I really liked these pencils. I liked the fact that it came with 2 of everything, first of all. And I liked that it came in this like cute little box, made me so happy. And I really liked these pencils. I thought they were so nice. I have been carrying around one of them like in my personal sketch bag like for weeks now since I filmed this video, and I've been using it all the time, and I do really like it. I feel like maybe they break a little bit less. I break my leads all the time. Like all the time I'm very, very hard on my mechanical pencils. I don't know if I noticed them breaking less. I don't think because I didn't realize that was a claim. So I'm going to try to pay attention to that now and compare it to my other ones and see. But I really, really liked them. I don't know about the low center of gravity, but they were very like hefty, which is nice. And yeah, I thought they were really nice. They feel really nice in your hand. They have a good weight to them. And I think that's kind of one of the more important parts for mechanical pencils. Also, the little sketch for this, I just did a girl in the winter, and it's going to be snowing, and she's got like a wintry hat. And I don't know, it was snowing outside when I was working on this, and I just wanted to reflect the snow. So I've moved on from the sketch to the microliners. So these microliners, like I said, were Precision. I think that's what they were called, Precision Black Microliner. And it came in a bunch of different sizes. And I'm not that, I don't use that many fine liners anymore, to be completely honest, but these definitely fit all of the things that I needed them to do for a fine liner. The tips didn't fray or split. They were all fine. It didn't blur out on the paper or bleed. And it was definitely waterproof, which is super, super important. A lot of times they will only just be water resistant and it will smudge, and it drives me absolutely nuts. But these were actually waterproof. They didn't smudge, which was wonderful. And I don't feel like they got too gray when I erased over them, but I've never really had anything that's not pure India ink that doesn't get a little bit washed out when you erase over the top. But I will say those erasers were really nice. They were very, they didn't smudge. They erased really, really cleanly. So I liked those a lot. I didn't try the brush tip on these, but I'm excited to try them. I'm just looking on the Amazon listed, and it does say that the pens have archival ink and that they're waterproof. So definitely can confirm that. And overall, I've been liking these guys a decent amount. I've been using them every now and then since then. I haven't used them too much, but I think I'm going to start using them in my bullet journal. And they fit my expectations for a microliner. I think they would work well for an affordable microliner. I think they were worth $11. So thus far, we're off to a pretty positive start. See, this is the eraser. It was a really, really nice eraser. I've also been using the erasers a lot. The little mechanical pencil set is a total win. That, I love that thing. And I did lose one of the pencils already though, so I need to find it. All right, so going in with the masking fluid, I decided to use it and do some fun masking fluid effects. So what I did was I painted the background with water, and then I dropped the masking fluid into the water to make these cool cloudy, blotchy effects. And I thought that would look really cool for the background, the sky, making it look more like a storm, snowstorm, that kind of thing. And it was really helpful to have the dropper bottle for the masking fluid in doing this. I don't think I've ever had a masking fluid before that has a dropper on it, so I really, really liked that. It's not something that I really thought about before, but actually ended up being really useful. So I waited for that to dry, or hit it with a hairdryer, and once that was dry, I had to go in with the watercolors before I could see how well it would erase and how cleanly it would come off. So I got my palette, which is the Falling in Art Airtight Leak-Proof Watercolor Palette, which I don't think I realized like, I know that I read out the names, but I'm only just kind of processing that it's supposed to be airtight. So theoretically, I think this would keep your paints wet, but I didn't test that. So the palette itself, let me talk about the palette while I set this up with the watercolor paints. It's 26 wells, and the product dimensions, it says 12 and 3/5 inches long by 6 and 2/7 inches wide. Okay. And it has a dry sponge. So I really like this palette a lot. It is huge. It has so many, like, it has the two different palettes that you can pull out, and then you have areas underneath those as well. And then the whole thing is really big. And what it says on the Amazon listing is that it's got sealed rubber, and then the wet sponge will actually help keep your paints and pigments fresh. So I'm guessing you wet the sponge and you leave it in there, and that helps keep the moisture in. So I'm definitely going to try using this with gouache next. I just used it with these watercolors and then rinsed it out, and I haven't used it for anything like permanent since then. So I'm going to try using this with gouache next, and I will update you guys on if it is actually airtight and how long it keeps my gouache wet, because I'm looking for something that does that well. But other than that, this palette is awesome. It is really big. It's easy to clean with removable pieces. These paints did stain the palette. I did find that the plastic was somewhat staining, like it picked up the pigments, and I don't think it's necessarily these paints that are staining. I think it's the plastic itself that is more likely to stain. I don't know. And the only other thing that I want to mention about this is I said it was pretty heavy when I picked it up, but looking at the actual like Amazon listing, the item weight is 1.08 pounds. So it is definitely heavy. It is a heavy duty palette, but it's a really nice palette. I highly recommend it. I thought it was wonderful. It holds so much stuff. I think it'd be a great big palette for anyone that's looking for something like that. So we've had some solid successes in a row here. We're really enjoying how things are going. I will get to the watercolor paper in a moment. And then we had to add in the watercolor paints. So these are the Davy Lou watercolor paints. And I'm going to pull them up on Amazon, and we'll kind of see what the Amazon listing has to say about them. So we can read their claims first before I talk about like my impressions. So this set, oh wow. So I'm actually looking at this right now. It is currently unavailable as I'm filming this video, which is great. And it comes with 24 non-toxic watercolor paints in 12 milliliters. And on Amazon right now, it has 4 stars and 99 reviews. So it says that it has superior quality and craftsmanship. Squeeze aluminum tubes allow for exact and efficient paint application. Is that a feature? Aluminum paint tubes, is that a feature now? That's like being like, comes in packaging. Okay, congratulations. Paint is designed to re-wet instantly and not deteriorate in the tube or palette. I would hope so. It's watercolor paint. I'm sorry, I'm being really salty right now. Protective screw caps preserve paint quality whilst extending lifespan. We have tubes and caps. These are their highlights. Okay. I'm taking off the masking fluid, by the way. Spoiler alert, the masking fluid was wonderful. It came off really cleanly. It didn't stain the page. And look how cool these cloudy effects are. I didn't think I was going to be disappointed because I've always enjoyed Dr. P.H. Martin stuff, and I wasn't. So 10 out of 10, good job masking fluid. Let's go back to talking about how much I hate these paints. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. So it says lay and blend with vibrant colors. It's a non-toxic painting set. See, that should have been my first clue. Non-toxic. No, I'm just kidding. Super smooth paint flows easily out of the tube. That's true. The paint did come easily out of the tube. It says it's finely ground watercolor, delivers great pigment dispersal, massive color purity, and is produced without animal byproducts. Like I said, it's vegan. So offers superior performance on canvas, paper, fabric, and wood. So that's kind of what it says about that. Professional quality paint. Yeah. Perfect blending, vibrant colors, hand-picked pure pigments are crammed into every tube. I highly doubt that. First of all, these paints are... I may have found paints that I like less than koi. Like I think I hate these paints more than I hate koi paints, and that's saying a lot for me. So when I first started out, I was like, oh, these aren't bad. Like, these are okay. And then, no. Like, they just kept... Like, they were okay, very, very watered down, but trying to build them up and layer them, they're just so chalky. Like that's the first word that I have written down is chalky and opaque. Like they are not very translucent at all. And I wouldn't say that they're opaque in a good way, the way the gouache is. I just found them very easy to get muddy and very easy to like kind of build up, very thick and opaque in some areas. And it kills a lot of the depth of watercolor, because one of the nice things about watercolor is that it's transparent, so you can build up lots of different layers, and that really creates depth in your shadows and in your colors. And this, it was just muddy, and you could just tell that these paints had so much filler in them. There is absolutely no way that these are pure pigment paints. Like no way. There's no way. They're not professional quality paints. I didn't expect them to be, but you know, they're saying they are. They're not professional quality. These are absolutely children's quality, and I would not give my children these. I would give them koi. Like these are not like koi, although this is a pretty color on the jeans. Yeah, so no, I do not like these. They also don't re-wet well. That is also a total lie. These are probably some of the least re-wettable watercolors that I've used. They did re-wet, but not very well. I had to kind of soak them a little bit. And yeah, I definitely have ones. Out of all of the ones I have that re-wet, like these did not re-wet very well at all. And they lift really easily, which made them really hard to layer. So building them up, you know, it would just take off the color underneath, which can also be the paper, but I find that the paint can contribute to that as well. And it's also, yeah, like I said, the colors are just really, really muddy and chalky, especially in the dark colors. The color payoff is decently bright. I will say that. Like there's a decent amount of like brightness when you start with the colors. Like I was able to get that, but it definitely didn't feel pigmented, if that makes sense. Like I could tell that there was a lot of filler in these paints that were making them really chalky and really opaque, and not in a good way. So they remind me of kois, but kois are better. So that's kind of, yeah, that's everything I have to say, I think, about the paints. I did not like them. I don't think they're worth your money. You can't even get them right now because they are unavailable. And honestly, like, I don't trust, first of all, I don't trust any packaging for an artist product that is that badly designed. I'm sorry, but if you're an artist's paint, like, don't have packaging that is that terrible. And I wanted to say this when it came, but like I didn't want to judge it. You know, I didn't want to prejudge it. And also, if you look through the listing, like the first two pictures are a child painting, and then it's like somebody painting outside, but then there's like the paint's like photoshopped on top. Okay, I need to stop talking about this paint so I can talk about the other products, but just don't buy them. Although I did like this yellow. Okay, so the brushes, the Transcend watercolor brushes, great. Loved these brushes. I liked the long handles. It kept them like really nice and balanced. And I thought I was gonna like them because I have liked Transcend in the past. They hold a tip really, really nicely, which I really, really enjoyed. And I did, like I said, I liked the long handle, and there's a really good selection of sizes in this packet as well. Like you got kind of like everything you really needed. It would be a really, really good starter set, honestly, for anyone. I would definitely recommend this as a beginner set. Currently, it's saying that it's currently unavailable, but I'm going to see if I can find a different link or something similar. It says these are goat hair ones, so they're not going to be vegan. But I did really, really like these guys. I thought they worked really, really well, and I've used them a bunch since this video, and they've held up really nicely. So I think the last thing that I want to talk about during this specific section is I want to talk about the paper. So the paper that was suggested to me is the Arteza paper. This is their cold press paper. I have used this paper quite a few times in the past. I think it was sent to me a couple years ago in like a PR package for a video. And this paper I think is average. I feel like those were my views when I first remember trying it, like not a whole lot stood out to me about it. And I feel the same way still. I have so much of this paper, although I'm finally starting to run low. And I've always tended to use it for like swatches and testing paints and things like that. I wouldn't say that it's bad, and I wouldn't say that it's particularly good. It's just average. It's mediocre. It does warp a lot. But if you tape it down, I mean, you can layer on it. It holds, it layers, you know, you can layer it. It does have some texture. I'm not a huge fan of the actual individual texture of this paper. It doesn't granulate. I don't know. I prefer something that's a little bit rougher and a little bit more organic, if that makes sense in the texture. But the paper is okay. Like, it's an okay starter paper. There's definitely worse papers. There's papers out there that I really don't like. I will definitely use this paper. I've not really got a problem with using this paper. Did you see that? Did you see where it lifted off the color underneath when I was blending? Don't tell me these paints can blend. Don't tell me these paints, I won't. Anyway, so the paper is average, and if you're looking for a bunch of watercolor paper for an affordable price, it's a great option. I prefer the B paper in terms of affordability, but I don't know how that compares in terms of size, because I tend to get these smaller sizes of the B paper of the 100% cotton, and this is a larger size. It's a big block. There's a bunch of paper in it. So I would say if you are starting watercolor and you're trying out a bunch of watercolor papers to see, you know, what you like, and you also are like practicing a bunch, yeah, this would be really good for that. Like, if you're doing a bunch of studies, you're practicing, you're trying to learn, and you just don't want to work on a bunch of expensive paper, I think this would be perfect for that. Yeah, so I do think it's a good beginner paper. I just don't think there's anything like to write home about it. I mean, I don't write home about watercolor papers just in general. Oh, sometimes I do. Me and my mom both like watercolor paper. I don't know. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof Whites. So the second Dr. P.H. Martin's thing in this video, and just like the first one, I was very impressed with it. It is super fluid and it is really opaque. Even if I add a little bit of water to just increase the flow, since it is a thick paint, even being a thick paint, it's decently fluid, but adding a little bit of water, it still stays really, really opaque. You need hardly any. I honestly think that this white is going to last me forever. Basically, it's going to last me till it dries out. I don't know that I'll actually be able to finish it. We'll see how long it lasts before it dries out. I also used it to add the little snow effects at the end, and that kind of finished off this piece, so I was really glad that I got that white. So that is it. That is this whole video. I tried out all the sponsored art supplies. I would say most were pretty good, and I would give them the Hello Alice seal of approval, but the watercolor paints were decidedly absolutely terrible. Don't buy them. They are horrible. So thanks again so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I hope that you guys liked it and liked seeing me test out some of these sponsored art supplies. Maybe it answered some curiosity, burning questions that y'all had. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, you know, do all the YouTube things that the YouTubers ask you to do, and I will see ya in the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys!